Your comment section should be your highest converting sales channel, but instead, it's a black hole where you pour time and energy into people who are never going to buy. Here's the problem: you're treating high intent buyers the same way that you treat engagement junkies. But engagement junkies will flood your comments and never spend a dime, while high intent buyers will leave one comment and hand you $10,000. This is why you and your team need to understand how to activate high intent buyers the moment they comment. So you can turn engagement into revenue in 48 hours without chasing, pitching, or hoping that they remember you later. Now, today, I'm going to show you the intent activation system that detects buying signals, activates the right conversations, and fills your calendar with clients who are ready right now, not someday. So you can go from comments to clients and get high paying clients on social media without a single cold DM. Now, hey, and welcome back to the Business Real Talk, where we cut the fluff and show you the no BS way to build a successful and sustainable business in half the time. I am your host, Echeverria. Now, last week, we talked about the head down theory, how the fastest way to hit your 5-year goals in 6 months is to stop chasing more and start focusing on what actually compounds momentum by keeping your head down. Now, if you started applying that, you probably noticed something: that focus is powerful, but it's only going to work when you know where to direct it. Because you can have all the focus in the world, but if you're pouring energy into the wrong conversations, you're just moving fast in the wrong direction. So that's exactly what we're going to dive into here today: how you can stop wasting time on engagement junkies and start activating high intent buyers that are hiding in your comments. So every conversation actually moves the needle. Now, here's what most people don't realize is that connection creates opportunity. A single comment thread can turn into a $50,000 client. A seemingly casual reply can lead to a partnership that changes the entire trajectory of your business. And I've watched hundreds of clients land book deals, speaking gigs, dream clients, all from knowing how to read the signals in their comments and activate intent strategically. Like Erica, who had a single post that brought in $60,000 from leads who had been silently sitting in her audience. Or Anna, who had a single post that generated 322 leads in 48 hours, with so many people that were interested in working with her that she had to bring on a new team member just to support the influx. Or James, who cut his ad budget in half because his comment to client conversion went up 30% in just 45 days. So let's get real, because right now, you want conversations that actually move naturally from casual engagement to how do I work with you, without the awkward pitch, without feeling salesy, and without having to chase people who ghost you after giving them free advice. And you want your comment section to actually convert, where a single comment thread turns into a $10,000 client, not just another thanks for sharing that goes nowhere. And you want to know exactly who's ready to buy versus who's just browsing. So you can stop wasting hours building rapport with people who are never actually going to pay you and start having conversations that will actually fill your calendar. And you want a predictable system, one that consistently brings in high intent buyers who come into your world every single week, so you're never starting from zero when you need revenue. All of this so you can actually have the freedom to focus on the work that you can do instead of another marketing hack that you need to master. And a business is going to scale without you grinding harder, because your systems are doing the pre-qualifying and relationship building and the conversion work for you. And the confidence that every post you create has the ability to generate revenue, not just engagement or visibility, but actual clients who are ready to pay you right now. And yet, here's what's actually happening right now. Now, you're getting clients, but it's taking longer than it should. So you and your team are replying to comments, nurturing relationships, building rapport, and eventually some of those conversations lead into sales, but it's slow, it's inconsistent, it requires way more handholding than you'd even like. And your comment section is generating interest, but it's not creating urgency. So people engage, they say that they love your work, they ask great questions, and then they kind of disappear into a months-long nurture cycle before maybe eventually they're ready to buy. You're leaving money on the table because the buying process is dragging out unnecessarily. And your comment section kind of feels like a black hole. You're pouring time and energy into people who actually had zero intent to buy, while the real buyers, the ones who would hand you $10,000, are slipping through your fingers because you missed the signal entirely. Now, the frustrating part is that you know your offer is solid. Your expertise is unmatched. Your results speak for themselves, but you don't have a system that's going to identify who's ready to buy now and how to activate them before they cool off or get distracted by someone else. So here's where most business owners and their teams turn when they want to improve their comment to client conversion. Number one is the volume trap. This idea that the more comments you get, the more clients you'll sign. And it's this idea of engagement equals success myth, where if you focus on volume, more posts, more replies, more activity, that if you just get enough of those, eventually the numbers will work out in your favor and clients will materialize. But we all know this, that volume is a vanity metrics, and 100 comments from tire kickers isn't going to actually move the needle. So you're optimizing for the wrong thing, chasing engagement instead of activation, which leaves you and your team chasing numbers that don't actually convert. And you're spending hours replying to everyone, celebrating your engagement metrics, posting screenshots of your viral content while your bank account stays the same. You're drowning in low quality engagement while the high intent buyers who would have paid you slip right past you because you're rewarding volume over intent. Now, the second one is what I call the calendar filler, where you turn every comment into a booked call. The logic here is really simple. It's that if you hire someone whose job is to turn as many commenters as possible into booked calls, that you're going to push people through the funnel. You're going to get them on the phone. You're going to close them. But you're actually forcing conversations that aren't quite ready yet. So appointment setters are trained to book calls. That's their metric, right? That's how they're measured. So every single comment they treat is like a sales opportunity, trying to move everyone into a discovery call, whether they're ready or not. And the result is that you're going on this massive leap from nice post to let's book a sales call with nothing in between. So people are getting the ick because there's no bridge, there's no context. You're just another brand in their DMs trying to sell them something. Not to mention the toll it's starting to take on you or your sales team. Your calendar is filling up with the wrong people. You're spending hours on calls with tire kickers who ghost after the discovery call and people who need to think about it for 6 months, or the prospects who were just never qualified in the first place. And the people who were actually ready to buy, they got pushed too hard. They felt the pressure and they walked away, assuming that you're just another high pressure sales operation. Now, the third one is the automation trap, that set it and forget it. This one is really seductive because we get this idea that using automation tools, chat bots, auto replies to handle comments is going to be what scales. And so we end up responding instantly. We capture leads, we move them to our nurture sequence, and it kind of should create efficiency, right? But automation without strategy is kind of just noise at scale. Generic auto replies scream sales bots. See, people can smell the copy and paste from a mile away, and it breaks trust instantly. Even worse, automation starts to treat everyone the same. So high intent buyers are going to get the same canned response as engagement junkies. And you're losing those buyers who are ready to pay you right now because they get this robotic response and immediately move on to someone who feels more human, more personalized, more like they actually care. Meanwhile, your funnel is filling up with people who never actually buy and the real opportunities to ghost you. So optimizing for efficiency accidentally optimize you out of revenue. Now, the last one is what I call the rapport builder, the just be helpful and eventually they'll buy. This is the nice guy approach where you're told to reply to every comment, give great advice, be authentic, showcase your expertise, and build trust over time. And eventually, maybe somebody will want to work with you. But rapport doesn't equal revenue. You end up with a comment section that is filled full of friendly conversations that are going to feel really productive, but they produce nothing. So you and your team end up spending hours being nice to people who had zero intent to commit to their change, nonetheless invest in working with you, which leaves you as the free advice person, not the paid expert. So your audience learns to extract value without ever investing. So they love your tips, they share your posts, they comment regularly, but when it's time to pay, they're nowhere to be found. Or worse, they take your free advice, hire someone else who position themselves as the premium solution, and you've trained them that you're accessible, helpful, and free, and you can't get them to see you as anything else. So yeah, all the standard advice makes sense on paper until you realize that they all have the same fatal flaw. They condition your audience to consume and not buy. So whether you realize it or not, you've inadvertently been training people that your comment section is a place to extract value, that your DMs are open for free advice, and that you are the person they come to consume and take from, before they move on to another expert to buy from, all because you're rewarding engagement instead of activating intent. That's why the answer to turning comments into clients isn't about engaging more. It's about activating intent strategically so you condition your audience to buy from you. I call this the intent activation system. So, how it works is it triggers buying intent, then it activates it through a simple behavior driven process to turn comments into clients in 48 hours, predictably, repeatedly, and without the chase or getting friend zoned. So, let's break down the formula behind the intent activation system, starting with step one, what I call micro triggers, the way that we get people to say, I need this. Now, want to know the $1 billion secret behind how Google prints money? They understand one simple truth. The more specific someone search, the higher their buying intent. So someone who's searching shoes is browsing. Someone who's searching women's running shoes size 8 is getting closer, but someone searching Nike Pegasus 40 women's size 8 free shipping is ready to buy right now. That specificity reveals intent. High intent buyers in your audience work exactly the same way. They're not paying attention to vague surface level concepts. They're zeroed in on specific outcomes that they want, a specific problem that they're trying to solve, a specific result they're desperate to achieve. And when your content or comment hits that exact micro trigger, the specific thing that's top of mind and priority for them, they instantly recognize themselves in your message. That recognition creates urgency. It's the difference between that sounds nice and oh my gosh, I need this right now. I want you to think about the last time that you purchased something on impulse. It wasn't because the product was generally good. It was because it solved a very specific problem you were having or dealing with in that very moment. So maybe you were struggling to stay organized and you saw a planner system that promised to turn chaos into clarity in 10 minutes a day. Now that micro trigger of chaos to clarity in 10 minutes a day, it hit fast. It gave you exactly what you needed. That's what micro triggers do. They make your solution feel inevitable because it speaks directly to what's urgent and top of mind. You're not trying to appeal to everyone. You're triggering the specific people who have that desire right now. So let me give you an example. A generic version of this would be, want to grow your business? Here's how. A micro trigger instead would say, here's how to go from 20K to 50K months without posting more on social media. The second one speaks to a specific micro trigger, the 20K to 50K plateau and the exhaustion of posting on social media constantly. The person dealing with that exact problem is going to stop and pay attention. Everyone else will scroll past, and that's exactly what we want. So I want you to ask yourself this. What's one specific problem that your high intent buyers are obsessed with solving right now? Not the generic desire, the exact specific outcome that they're losing sleep over. That's a micro trigger. That's where you speak directly to it. You stop attracting browsers and you start activating buyers. Now, hint, if you don't know how to find these triggers, check the description or show notes down below and check out our demand test workshop where I actually show you for just $97 how to find and test these triggers quickly and effectively. Now, let's move to step two, which is what I call conversation activators, how you position the right response. Now, have you ever noticed that Netflix doesn't just end an episode and kind of leave you hanging? They hit you with that, are you still watching prompt? We've all felt it, but more importantly, they auto cue the next episode and show you a preview. See, they're not asking you if you want to keep watching. They're setting you up to say yes. That is a conversation activator. They're not leaving it up to chance. They're designing the experience so the natural next step is to keep going. Your content should work the same exact way. You don't just end with, what do you think, and hope that someone raises their hand. You set up the conversation so the natural next step is for high intent buyers to ask for help. So a conversation activator is how you create that process so people keep moving. They're ready and primed for a buying decision, not just dropping, I love this, and moving on. So it's about how you frame those posts and what you ask and how you position the invitation so the comments naturally lead to, how do I do this? Or how can I get help with this instead of passive engagement? Now, most people end their posts with very generic call to actions like, what do you think? Or drop a fire emoji if you agree. And they wonder why their comments are full of emojis, but not zero buying intent actually in there. And the truth is how you set up the conversation determines the direction that it goes. So if you ask for opinions, you're going to get opinions. If you ask for engagement, you'll get engagement. But if you set up the conversation to activate buying intent, you'll get people raising their hands saying, I need help with this. So think of it kind of like a fork in the road. The way you frame your post determines which path that they take, the path to consumption or the path to conversion. So let's say that you just posted the content about 20 to 50K revenue plateaus in your micro trigger. A generic call to action would be taking them on the consumption path of, have you ever experienced this? Let me know in the comments. This invites sharing, commiserating. You'll get comments like, yeah, totally, same here, but no one's actually asking for help. They're just relating. Versus a conversation activator or the conversion path would look something like, if you're stuck at this plateau right now and can't figure out what's blocking you, drop yes, and I'll show you the exact gap that most people miss. Can you see the difference? One gets passive engagement and the other gets buying intent. So when you're creating your content, you need to ask yourself, am I asking for opinions or am I asking for action? Am I inviting passive engagement or strategic conversation? And does my call to action set up dead end comments or doorway to a buying conversation? So your conversation activator should make it natural for your high intent buyers to raise their hand and ask for help. So the comment itself becomes the first step towards working together. So are your posts ending conversations or are they activating them? Because one trains people to engage and ghost and the other trains them to engage and buy. Now, the third and final step is what I call relationship accelerators. This is how we compress the buying timeline. So if you've ever wondered, how can someone decide that they want a second date in just 7 minutes of speed dating? The truth is it's not magic. It's what we call strategic conversation design. So speed dating works because it compresses all the getting to know you stuff and those essentials into a focused interaction. You're not wasting time on small talk. You're asking the questions that actually matter. And within minutes, both people know if it's a fit. That's relationship accelerators. Most businesses think that you need months of nurturing before someone's actually ready to buy, but high intent buyers don't need more time. They need the right conversation that establishes fit, builds trust, and shows them that your solution fast. Once someone raises their hand in your comments with buying intent, this is where the sales conversation kind of takes over, whether that's in the DMs, emails, etc. So the way that you structure that conversation is going to determine whether they buy in 48 hours or disappear into a months-long, I'll think about it cycle. So let's break it down. Now, the relationship accelerator is a simple framework that compresses the buying timeline by establishing 4 key things. Number 1, their specific needs so that they feel fully understood. Number 2, the gap. Number 3, how you solve that gap so that they can see the path forward. And number 4, why you're the obvious choice so that they can stop shopping around. Now, all of this happens in one strategic conversation. So there's no pressure, no selling, just a conversation that's actually mirroring their natural decision process. See, high intent buyers aren't actually looking for more information. They're waiting for the next step that activates clarity, confidence in where they need to go. I want you to kind of think of it like GPS. When you're lost, you're not looking for more blog posts about top tips for navigation. You need someone to sit there and say, here's exactly where you are, here's where you need to go, and here's the fastest route. That's what relationship accelerators do. It gives people the GPS for their problem. So let's say that someone commented, yes, I've been stuck at this plateau for 6 months and I can't figure out what's blocking me. Now you're in their DMs, and instead of just jumping the gun to a sale, you're asking the right questions that activate their decisions and move them through a natural but accelerated process so that they instantly gain clarity, have a clear understanding of your approach and how it solves the gap. Now you can easily make an invitation to the next steps and they're thrilled to say yes. So in your conversation, I want you to start asking yourself, what is the way that I could diagnose the exact gap? Okay. Number 2 is I need you to know how to share how your method solves the problem. Number 3 is how do you position the next step as inevitable? So what happens after that that allows you to step to that next place? You're not convincing, you're not chasing, you're simply guiding a high intent buyer through a strategic conversation that's going to make them feel like they can make confident decisions fast. So ask yourself, when someone DMs you with interest, does your response add friction or does it accelerate the decision? Because one will keep them in limbo and the other will get them to a yes in just 48 hours. So that is the intent activation system. So I want to zoom out for a second. The old way was that we were chasing volume. We were replying to everyone. We were giving away free advice and hoping that someday, eventually, some of those people turn into clients. Now, the new way is to use intent activation system to trigger that buying intent with micro triggers and then set up your content to activate buying conversations and then compress the sales timeline with strategic DMs that move people through the comment to client in just 48 hours. Because we either choose to condition people to consume or to condition people to buy. But you need to stop treating your comment section, your social media like a popularity contest and start treating it like a client getting machine. Because when you condition your audience to buy from you instead of consume, everything changes. You stop wasting time on engagement junkies who are never going to pay you, and you stop watching high intent buyers slip away into your competitors' hands. And you start filling your calendar with clients who are ready right now and not someday. That is the power of the intent activation system. And it's exactly how you turn your comment section into your highest converting sales channel. Now, the intent activation system is super powerful on its own, but it's even more powerful when it's a part of a complete client acquisition and retention system that actually works together. So from the moment someone discovers you to the moment they become a raving fan, that's exactly what the easiest method does. And it starts with understanding how to win the market with what we call your innovative advantage. Now, your best clients aren't looking for another version of the same thing. They're searching for a breakthrough that's going to make them say, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. It's where we develop your innovative gap methodology, that framework, the innovation, your IP asset that positions you as the only solution in your market so you can stop competing and start dominating. This is how you get clients to seek you out. It's how you get people to recognize your value instantly, how you become the most talked about and most bought from expert, and how you get your clients to pay 5 to 10x your current prices and have buyers who are lining up. Now, the second step is how you turn your method into a bingeable decision system. So I want you to think about how Netflix gets you hooked on a series. I want you to imagine that your buyers are doing the same thing with you. With a bingeable decision system, your prospects move through your sales process like they're binging their favorite show. They become so obsessed, they sell themselves on working with you, and every single step of the way, they show up ready to buy. There's no more chasing, no more months of back and forth, no more exhausting content treadmill, just a simple system that gets your leads to say yes. This is where the intent activation system lives, turning your comments, your content, your conversations into a client getting machine. Now, the third and final step is how you actually deliver on your promise with what we call a happy client machine. Now, marketing and sales alone just aren't enough. You need it to be able to deliver results that turn your clients into raving fans. Now, the happy client machine ensures that your clients are getting world-class results at scale without your constant involvement. This is how you turn your IP into an asset system that actually outgrows you, that becomes your legacy, that allows you to create a business model where you support clients to massive and incredible results, where your reputation is going to outlive you and outgrow you, and actually run a business that you love for years and years to come. And your clients, on the flip side, become your best marketing team ever. This is the power behind the Easy Yes method, where we are developing innovation that creates a space and a market of one where your competition becomes irrelevant. And then we develop the selling systems that actually allow your leads to sell themselves and create the delivery so that you can dominate your market, attract clients on autopilot, and scale predictably. So if you've heard enough and you're ready to see how this works inside of your business, I want to invite you to apply for a growth optimization call. Now, on this call, we're going to look at your current client acquisition approach. We're going to pinpoint where the biggest gaps are, and I'm going to show you exactly how the easiest method can help you so you can also turn comments into clients, fill your calendar with high intent buyers, and create a predictable growth engine that truly feeds itself. So head on over to easyesleads.com/call to apply. Now, if you want to go deeper on how we use the Netflix effect to get leads to sell themselves, and you want to check out our on-demand series, I want to have you head over to thenetflixeffect.com to check this out now and see exactly how it works. Now, my goal is that you've walked away from this episode with a completely new way of thinking and framing around how to turn comments into clients and understanding the true power behind how we condition our audience to make faster buying decisions. Now, if you've been able to think differently, I would love and appreciate if you could take just 60 seconds to rate, review, and share this episode with a friend, because it means the world to me, but it also allows us to get our message into the hands of more experts who are looking to revolutionize their industry and turn their method into a movement. But until next time, here's to keeping it real.